6 AI agents, each built with a unique edge. Miko, AI, Team Leader. Ori AI, Fundamental Analyst. XAUUSD, AI, Technical Analyst. Mesa, AI, Risk Management Specialist. Fenwa, AI Market Sentiment Analyst. And Naledi AI, the cryptocurrency expert. Together, they're engineered to protect, guide, and transform your trading. The future of trading is here. Experience Zentrix AI. 6 AI agents, each built with a unique edge. Miko, AI, Team Leader. Ori AI, Fundamental Analyst. XAUUSD, AI, Technical Analyst. Mesa, AI, Risk Management Specialist. Fenwa, AI Market Sentiment Analyst. And Naledi AI, the cryptocurrency expert. Together, they're engineered to protect, guide, and transform your trading. The future of trading is here. Experience Zentrix AI.
Okay, what's up people? Welcome back to another stream. Hope you're all doing well. As always guys, if you do have any requests, any pairs you're looking at, drop it in the chat. We'll take a look as always. What is up Rohana? Welcome to the stream. Good morning. What's up Alexander? CS, my man, hope you're doing good. Precious, what's up? Pack, what is up? Yes, we'll take a look at BTC and FTSE as well. Currently in some pound Aussie longs, which is definitely not going to plan at the moment. Hopped in this position on 30 minutes about maybe 2-3 hours ago. That was 7 a.m. So yeah, about 3 hours ago. Momentum hasn't picked up for the buyers at all. I'm looking to see if I can capitalize on the higher time frame trend, but momentum just hasn't kicked in, and I'm very close to being stopped out right now. Probably going to see it in probably the next minute or so. I'm still very bullish bias, so if I do see a recovery, I will look for re-entries. I do like what I'm seeing on the higher time frames, but momentum is just not going to plan. Looks like I'm about to get stopped out there. Let me check on my brokerage. Probably has already because of spread. Yeah, already out of the position at the moment. I mean, it came probably within a pip, so that was enough to take me out of the trade. But yeah, I mean, I'm still very much bullish on pound Aussie. It just, momentum didn't come into play and possibly may have entered too early. But at the end of the day, I've got to follow my process, follow the plan, and that is still very much in play as well. As long as price stays above this low here, I'll be looking to see if I can re-enter and get back into pound Aussie longs. Because I'm still looking for not only a push back to this high, but also a push back to this high as well. So I really like the idea because of the risk reward opportunity. And if we can see the continuation of the higher time frame, which is this bullish trend, which is basically what I'm trying to take advantage of, this long-term uptrend, especially with the strong daily candle close we had on Friday. I'm looking to see if I can continue the momentum there. But yeah, momentum hasn't gone to plan. I'll look to see if I can find some re-entries. Possibly hourly chart I might leave it to now. See if we can get back above this low here. So if I do see a strong close back above this area, I'll be happy to look for a re-entry. Other than that, I will kind of be cautious. And of course, if you do break through this low, well, that's a break of structure. At that point, again, I would still be bullish on the higher time frame, but just intraday, I'm going to have to take a back seat for now and kind of keep an eye to see how things develop. But yeah, pound Aussie is definitely a pair I'm looking at. It was one of the pairs I spoke about in the weekly analysis coming to the week. And I'm also very keen on pound dollar and Aussie dollar as well, shorts. But those are not quite set up yet. I'm still looking for a bit more USD weakness. We did have a lot of weakness kind of overnight coming into today as well for the dollar, which again, I'm still pretty much bullish. We'll start off the DXY. We'll go through some requests there. But yeah, I'm still very bullish on the dollar. But I did say yesterday and pretty much coming into the week, this area here is always just going to be a very indecisive area for the dollar, because price here is coming back into supply, back into areas where we have seen lower highs previously. So if the market is going to form another lower high, this would be the location for it to happen. If price was to break through this high, that would count as a break of structure, and I could see price potentially reverse from there. So I'm very much cautious from a bullish perspective in this zone, which is why I've been waiting to see if the dollar can retrace and pull back towards this area, which I'll be a lot more comfortable to look for some long ideas on the dollar, of course shorts on pound, shorts on Aussie, on those type of currency pairs to take advantage of this USD strength. Right now we're seeing some downside, but not enough for me to get excited. I do want to see a little bit more downside just to really come back into that bullish zone before I do look to take some buys. At the moment, I would still say we're kind of close to that supply area. I mean, we are coming back into support. We are coming back into demand. We may see a bit of a reaction, but I'm still with the expectation that price could come a little bit lower before we do see this bigger move. I'm still very much bullish on, bearish on pound USD, still very much bearish on Aussie dollar. I'm actively looking to try and sell those currency pairs, and that will rely on USD being strong, which again, I'm still looking for that to happen. I really like this bullish leg. This is the zone I'm going to be focused on from now onwards. Take a look at Euro, which is not my favorite USD pair to trade at the moment. Again, with this one, we are coming, well, not quite, but almost in the area, which is similar to the DXY, where we've seen buyers step into the market, and of course, we've seen some new higher highs as well. I would still say structure is quite bullish for this one. So again, taking shorts in this area, you're going to have to be very intraday. I'm not looking for a big swing position in this area. If I'm looking to short Euro, it's because we've had a pullback more so into this area, and I might be able to take advantage of some selling opportunities. Even that is still a little bit aggressive as well, but at least I'm trading in areas of supply, areas where I've seen lower highs develop before. I've seen momentum come into play, possibly could see some sellers kick back in for another swing. So with Euro trading at these lows, not really actively looking to sell the market, which is what we were talking about yesterday. But now with that, we have seen a bit of strength. Again, looking to see if we can continue that, because this does look like a big double bottom to me. Price has formed support, retested it, respected it very well. A lot of strength came back in. We just about pierced through those highs. I do think we can see a bit more upside, probably for the next 24, 48 hours for Euro. Then maybe you can speak about some sells, maybe Thursday, Friday, or if not, early next week. So the plan is still very much the same, looking to short Euro, except I do prefer pound and Aussie, so those have more of my attention right now. But I do think there is a very likely chance a lower high does form eventually for Euro USD, but for now we might see a bit more upside intraday. So if I scale to the lower time frames, perhaps let's go to the hourly chart. Again, the buys are still a little bit aggressive, but at least you're getting some break of structure now on the hourly chart to tell you that, okay, we are seeing momentum above highs. So you could be looking for something like this to form and a higher low for the continuation. The reason why it's a little bit aggressive is because, again, you're going against all that momentum intraday, but you do have good reason to support that, the double bottom, the break of structure. You're looking for a slightly bigger pullback. So yeah, in the short term, I do think a bit more upside for Euro, but this is still very much the play. If I shift over to pound USD, that's kind of the exact situation as well with this one too, which is, again, I'm looking for pound USD to end up back at these lows here. That's my target for pound. We've had a lovely bearish move last Thursday. We tried to continue that yesterday, but by the end of the day, the market pulled back and left behind a pretty piercing wick to the downside. And now potentially we could be seeing a slightly bigger pullback. I like this zone just above us here for pound. It'd be very nice if price can come back, retest that, and then see the continuation. And that would be a great area to look for a lower high and swing it back into support, because that could be a very lovely risk reward opportunity. So the sells are still very much on for pound. I generally thought yesterday that we had all that bearish momentum. Pound was very weak at the time. We had some pound news come into play. I was under the impression that this momentum was just probably going to take us back into the low, especially with the dollar looking semi-bullish at the time as well. So The fact that price has found support here, reversed quite aggressively, a little bit interesting and has spiced things up and probably allows me the opportunity to actually trade pound USD with the way I kind of envisioned coming to the week, which was a bigger pullback, towards 1.34, 1.32, and then looking for some lower highs there for the swing. Again, similar double bottom as to euro. Price is really struggling to break through support. Would I be looking at buys for pound? No, not really. I'm not the biggest fan of this structure here. I'd rather just wait for the selling opportunities on like maybe the hourly chart or even the 4 hour as well. So yeah, I'm not so concerned about the buys, but I do think there's a bit more upside to be had before we do sell off. But this here is the main move I'm looking for. If we go to dollar CAD first, then we'll go take a look at Aussie dollar, which is the other USD pair I really do like. Now USD CAD was very, very bullish. We've just created new highs past this point. Now, do I still want to be looking to buy dollar CAD? No, not really. Yes, the market's quite bullish. We're breaking through structure on our left here. This could insinuate a lot more upside in the short and medium term for dollar CAD. We could still head higher, but I don't really want to be buying into fresh highs, especially as price comes back into some areas of supply on our left there. I'd rather wait for the next pullback, a higher low to form, and then try and catch these buys here. That's where my attention would be, and I could swing it back to prior highs, maybe even further as well. So with dollar CAD, yes, momentum is very bullish. Probably if you drop intraday, you can still take advantage of a trade, for a few hours, but I just wouldn't be looking to try and push that too far, because I do think the market's quite stretched. We're coming to areas of supply here. I'm expecting a slightly deeper pullback for dollar CAD at some point. I mean, if I do drop intraday, the pullbacks have been quite nice. Push, pullback, push. Potentially could be another pullback. You could even look for the break of that channel there for a buy. See if you can trade it back to highs. But again, I wouldn't try and take it further than that. The market's quite overextended. I do anticipate a bigger pullback at some point in time. So I'm still very bullish on dollar CAD because we've had that break of structure and momentum is still very strong, but just not in the right phase for me to be looking to buy the market just yet. I need that bigger pullback. Aussie dollar, however, is a market which I do think is looking really, really attractive and coming into an area which I'm interested to short. This is the target for the week. This is where we mentioned at the start of, at the end of last week when we did the weekly analysis. Looking for price to return back to support here at 0.641. Again, yesterday we were looking extremely bearish at one point. I just expected price just to keep falling and hit support. So now that we've had this pullback and even looking bullish today, it probably does give us the opportunity to take some shorts if you haven't taken shorts prior to this, and look to see if we can get some bigger pullbacks into some of these areas. So dropping a bit more intraday for Aussie dollar. This has been quite a violent retracement. So again, I'm not looking to jump straight into shorts. Quite a violent impulsive move, which means that price probably will spend maybe another day or two retracing, pulling back before we do get that green light to actually short the pair. Maybe price does drop from there, but I'm just not interested in that. I like my pullbacks to be a little bit more slower, corrective, and that's where I do take my opportunities. But this has been a quite impressive bullish run there for Aussie dollar. So again, might see a bit of a correction intraday and maybe a bit more upside, but I'm not really keen on the buys just yet. So from a bearish bias, keeping a close eye in this area. Going to watch how we develop over the next 24, 48 hours. If we have a much bigger pullback than anticipated, then this zone here would of course still be of interest, and targets still remain back to that support level for this week. So very, very bearish on Aussie dollar, very bearish on pound dollar as well. New Zealand dollar I'm not so interested in because this one's just been falling quite well, to be honest. It's a similar situation as with dollar CAD. We've been in free fall, price just creating new lows, not really the phase or the location which I'll be happy to short the market. I do want us to see a bigger pullback, perhaps back into supply, reject well, and these are the areas where I look to try and take advantage of some shorts back to lows. Maybe price is going to push to this low eventually, but yeah, that's the phase I want to be in when I'm shorting it, not this phase here. So I do need that bigger pullback there for New Zealand dollar before I do become interested in it, and kind of anywhere in here, maybe even this area here I might be interested in, but at the moment not really keen on shorting New Zealand dollar because of where we're positioned. As for gold, still extremely bullish, creating new highs, bit of a pullback past kind of hour or so. We talked about the price action we had yesterday, very violent move down, but again, it didn't do anything significant, didn't really break structure. Momentum still overall with the buyers, so we did form that double bottom and price rip to the upside. And I'll still have the same impression with current price action now. I mean, let's see how this candle does close. It's still live, so let's give it the respect for it to actually close, and then we'll analyze in a bit more detail in the next 37 minutes. But just looking at the market now, still very bullish. Perhaps you might see a deeper pullback. It would be nice to see price come back and test this area, and that of course could be a nice place for price to test a strong area of demand, which of course gave us that previous swing. And we could look at buys there back to the prior high as well. So yeah, gold's still looking very bullish. Let's see how that momentum does close though. But yeah, nothing significant has changed, so still very much looking at more upside for gold. And likewise with silver, this one hasn't quite got back to highs yet. I mean, more or less, but not exactly. I think intraday this could be very interesting, especially with this down move currently. We do have this zone here, which gave us a nice rally. Perhaps let's drop to like a 30-minute chart. Actually, no, 15-minute chart. Perhaps if this can slow down, start to find support, there could be some longs here to take it back to resistance and then maybe back to highs there as well. That's something to look into. We've been pretty continuous on the lower time frames with these higher lows. Can we bet on another one to form? As long as price looks good in that area, I don't see why not. So silver to me, intraday looks pretty good. Gold still looks pretty good as well for the buys, although I would wait to see how we close. But yeah, the odds of price getting back to that high there and probably seeing new highs is pretty high, funnily enough. So yeah, gold, very bullish, silver, very bullish. Dollar, I'm still very bullish on that as well, but perhaps we can see a bit more downside first before we do step in for some longs or some shorts, some pounds, shorts and Aussie. That's currently where a lot of my focus is. And I'm going to see if I can get back into pound Aussie as well. I'm very bullish on that one, but we have seen a lot of downside, which just did take me out. Very, very unfortunate there because it kind of just took me out by the pip on my broker. But I'm still looking at buys here. So if I can find a redemption here, if price was to close back above this low, I'll look for a re-entry. And again, the plan is for a push back to this high. And if things go very well, a push back to this high there too. So yeah, those are the kind of the three markets I'm looking at. I was also looking at pound CHF shorts, but I'm not too sure about that one. I think that was kind of gone a little bit too far. But let's read through some messages. Yes, we'll take a look at BTC, FTSE as well. Okay, long from current levels. Yeah, I'm still very bullish CS. I'm kind of looking for a bit more downside. I'm not too sure. I mean, that's kind of what I'm going to be waiting for. Maybe price gives it, maybe it doesn't. But I'm very bullish on dollar as well. But I'm kind of looking for a bit more downside. Okay, to 98,750. Yeah, I mean, if dollar really does take off, we could see a push back to your 100 level, 100.2, which is the prior high here, if dollar really takes off. Okay, 98.7 is your entry. So basically at that low there. So yeah, I'm looking kind of slightly deeper anywhere in there. But yeah, very much expecting a similar move. What's up, Anton? Yes, we could take a look at GJ. Bashir, as always, my man. Hope you're doing good. Welcome to the stream. Yeah, guys, if you guys are enjoying, please be sure to drop a like, subscribe. It does really help out. Drop any chart recommendations in the chat, and we can discuss. Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. Pound CAD, money bags we can take a look at, no problem. That one's picked up some momentum. It's looking interesting. What's up, Dima? Hope you're doing good. Pound USD we can take a look at as well. I mean, that's pretty much at the top of my watch list, so I'm very much interested in that one as well. Hello, Morocco. You in Morocco right now, or are you saying hello to Morocco? Either which way, hope you're doing good. Anyway. So yeah, guys, quickly go through the perps platform. and then we'll go through some requests. So if you do have any, stick in the chat, or any trades you're in, feel free to let us know. We can discuss. But guys, if you haven't checked out the Perks platform yet, still a lot to offer. If you haven't checked it out, it is linked in the chat. I'm pretty sure I have pinned it so you can't miss it. If you are looking to trade cryptocurrencies, a great place to start. If you go through the list, there's many cryptocurrencies you can look to trade, but also FX, commodities, indices, other markets will be coming to the platform very soon. If you do have a Solana or Ethereum wallet, you can connect it directly to the platform. And if you don't, very easy to get one. You can use your email if you don't have a wallet or don't want to use a wallet, but I would highly recommend to use a Solana or Ethereum wallet. In terms of withdrawals, you don't have to wait to request for payouts. Everything is pretty much instant. You don't have to put a 24-hour, 48 request in. Everything is done pretty much as you close the trade. You can withdraw your profit straight away. And the impressive part is the AI features we're working on, which we're still developing, still looking to improve. But at the moment, you can get full-hour setups, you can get support resistance levels, you can get sentiment analysis, risk analysis as well, and analysis of the current trend too. So if you are interested to check out the platform, it is linked at the top of the chat. You can't miss it. And also, if you do want a bit more detail on the platform, how it works, how to use it, if you are a bit new to the platform or just trading perps in general, I do have a detailed video on the channel going through the video and also the AI as well. So check it out, guys, if you haven't done so already. Okay, so I'll start with BTC because that was requested earlier. And then I'll take a look at the FTSE. And then I'll go through pound CAD and GJ as well. Okay, 98.6, 98.4, 98.2. Okay, so anywhere in here. That's more or less where I'm looking at. I mean, if I could concentrate this level, I'd probably concentrate it there. That's prime real estate for a long for me, for the dollar. But yeah, anywhere in that zone, I'll be happy to find some longs. With global tensions, potentially, I mean, that would be nice. That would help me out. We'll have to wait and see. But again, as a very technical trade, I'm just going to wait for price to come to me. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. Hopefully it does, and I'll be there. Well, I'm not looking to trade the DXY, but hopefully I can find some shorts on pound or Aussie dollar. Appreciate it, Bashi. Okay, we'll go through BTC. And then we'll take a look at FTSE and pound CAD. So BTC is an interesting one. Of course, crazy moves recently. It's not that crazy, to be honest, in terms of price action. Of course, in terms of liquidation, but in terms of price action, it wasn't really such a big move. We've seen more crazy moves in BTC before. But yeah, I'm very much still looking at BTC in the frameworks of a range, so I'm not really looking to do anything with Bitcoin until we do operate in these areas here. When we were there last time, we were speaking about shorting opportunities, not because necessarily we're bearish on Bitcoin, but just because price is at the top of the range. We're respecting it pretty well. Naturally, going to look for price to bounce lower. If we did break out, then we'll reverse the bias and talk about longs. But that never happened. Now price looks like it's on its way back to the low of the range. Repeat the process, see what type of price action we get there. Is price rejecting well, firing wicks, or of course are we breaking through? And we'll go into detail if that is the scenario. But on paper, this looks like a great place for a buy, especially if I zoom out and look at the bigger picture. BTC for me is still very much a bullish market. So naturally, as we do approach support, we're looking to buy the market, especially if you do see healthy signs of rejection. So still very bullish on Bitcoin, but yeah, probably a little bit more downside to be had before we do start talking about some buys. It would be nice if we can even pierce through that low as well before we do find some long opportunities. But yeah, still very bullish on BTC. Let's see what we can do around the 107, 107k mark really, and then we'll go from there. In terms of the FTSE, I haven't looked at this one in a while. But yeah, looking very healthy, I must say. Trending very well, as most indices are at the moment. Looks like we've had a bit of a sell-off in the market is fading a little bit as we approach that supply zone. Of course, a really aggressive sell-off this morning too. It would be nice to see if we come a little bit lower. I think this could set up a very nice swing opportunity. If price could have one more drop back into the low here, and that could really set up a nice buy. If you're looking to sell the market, then I would say the move has kind of already happened. You kind of had the push. This is your pullback / bear flag, and that's your sell opportunity up there, not down here. So I would say the boat is already sailed for the sellers, unless price was to come up one more time and have another push and then get the sell. And of course the sells are very much back on, so keep an eye on that if you do have a bearish bias for the market. But if you are bullish, this is the zone I'll be a bit more focused on. Strong demand zone, basically coming back to retest the prior high here, sweeping that prior low. Altogether a very logical place for another higher low to form, and possibly a continuation back to high. So FTSE to me still looking pretty bullish as a whole. Of course, intraday I think we are pretty bearish and we could see more downside. So if you are looking at sells, if you're not already in the position, you kind of want price to push back to highs again, reject well, and then look for the entry. And if you are looking for longs, especially from a swing idea, that 993.40 area is where my focus would be. But yeah, long term still very bullish. Let's take a look at pound CAD. So with pound CAD is interesting because we have picked up some momentum, and looks like price basically failed to continue bearish because we had that really aggressive move yesterday, especially with the pound weakness. So we had that big bearish candle, and it was a little bit hit and miss because overall we know that the uptrend is still at play. So naturally we do have a bullish bias for pound CAD here. I really do like the wick we had last week there too, really implying support still holding, the high lows are still continuous. So naturally we still are going to be looking to buy this market, at least back to highs, and then we'll reanalyze from there. So the natural bias is bullish, but it was just very awkward yesterday to find a healthy place for a buy, especially with all that momentum we saw. However, it looks like price has reversed that momentum, and we've just seen some new highs as well. So the plan very much for pound CAD is looking for a pullback and then some more upside, with naturally targets, back at resistance up here around 1.88. We can just target that psychological level outright. So yeah, I do like the bias here for pound CAD. I like the zone here. Nice brief pause in the market, gave us a nice breakout too. Perhaps a retest of that level could be a smart place, especially intraday for some long opportunities. Right now it looks like we're seeing some strength come into play. We're at resistance, so not the most ideal place to be finding some longs. But yes, if we can see a pullback, that would be nice. Or perhaps if price does break out well here, there could also be an opportunity for a break and retest of that zone for a buy, which maybe we talk a bit more about maybe tomorrow if that is the case. But either which way, especially if you're intraday, buys look really good for now, back to resistance around 1.88, and then we'll call it a day and see what happens. Because yeah, price is having a really tough time trying to break through this zone here. So I wonder if we're going to roll back over, or are we going to get the breakout? We don't know. But what we can bet on is that there's a pretty high chance that price does make a move back to resistance. So if you can drop intraday and take advantage of that, you got yourself a nice opportunity. So yeah, pound CADs for the meantime still pretty bullish bias. Keep an eye for some intraday pullbacks would be my best advice. We'll go through GJ, Euro NZD, and Pound USD as well. Dima, are you looking to trade silver? Or Basha, are you trading silver? I mean, silver is looking interesting. I do think there's an intraday opportunity could be brewing up there. Anywho, in terms of pound yen, again, still a very interesting market. It looks like we're starting to stall. So because we're failing to really get this selling pressure that gets us back below this area here, I am going to be kind of shifting to a bullish bias ever so slowly. I'm not actively looking at buying opportunities just yet, but I do think we are getting there. Again, if we are going to continue this momentum, continue this trend, then I do expect to see pound yen nestle back at the highs there at 207.8. That would be my longer term trajectory if this bullish trend is going to continue. So what I do want to see is price respecting support, which, I mean, it hasn't actually cut. It hasn't actually retest. I think it missed it by a few pips there. Yeah, just missed it. But more or less, it looks like price is slowing down. Support is starting to form. I'm not looking to buy just yet. We still do have a lot of bearish momentum here. We could easily see another push up, back into supply, and potentially another push back down. So I'm not going to get too carried away with the buys just yet. But let's say if we do get momentum starting to pick up, especially a break of the highs here, well, intraday, the next pullback is something I'll be very interested in. Not only for a push to the highs here, but for a push all the way to 207.8, 208 basically. So GJ, there's a lot of room to the upside. Equally, there's a lot of room to the downside as well. If price is going to reject the highs here, come back underneath this high, we could still see a monster sell-off too. So either which way, there's still a lot of opportunity for GJ. It's kind of just about biding your time and waiting for the best opportunity to actually materialize. So I'm leaning towards a bit more of this bias here for GJ, but not prepared to long just yet. Still too early. Still do have this roof over our heads, which could very much give us a huge sell. So I don't want to be buying into that necessarily. But let's say if we can break through, see a higher high, yeah, I would be happy to try and bet on some higher lows forming and some more upside. So that is what I'm leaning towards on GJ, but not quite here yet. Okay, so we'll go through Euro NZD and Pound USD next. Okay, already trading out. Nice one, Dima. Oh, okay. Super spread wick candle on the 15. Damn. Is silver still giving crazy spreads? Yeah. That is, again, I mean, there's not much you can do with that really because, yeah, there's not much you can do with that because, again, it's not anticipated spread either. Okay, let's go through Euro NZD. So Euro NZD is still a very bullish market for the most part, still grinding higher. There's not much to do here, to be honest. This is not the phase of the market I want to get involved, unless you're very, very intraday and you're just looking for like a trade for the next 2-3 hours, fair enough. But even if you're looking for the trade for the day, it's always a little bit difficult because you can see how bullish the market is. So of course, naturally, you're looking for buys. But again, I don't like buying the market as soon as we create new highs. This is always territory that gets us ready for a bit of a pullback, which is something I would like to see happen, so I can try and find the next higher low to buy back up again. So the current trend is very bullish. I wouldn't be looking to sell. I think sells are quite aggressive, especially with how aggressive the trend is. It's not as bullish as gold, for example, but this is still a very aggressive trend, so I wouldn't recommend looking to try and short it outright unless you're going to be, again, in and out of the trade pretty quickly. So if you're looking for opportunities for Euro NZD, I would wait for a bigger pullback. I like this demand zone here. Strong impulse, pullback, strong impulse. Perhaps we can get another pullback, take out some of these weaker lows here, and then see the continuation. That could be a smart place for a trade. Back to highs, maybe call it a day beyond that. So still actively looking to buy this. Momentum is up on pretty much all the major time frames, monthly, weekly, daily. So as an intraday trader or even an intra-week trader, you're not so really looking to try and go against that. If you are, you want to be very quick about it. But if you're looking to follow trends, you do have opportunities here, but you do need some pullbacks. Buying here is just a little bit of guesswork, especially just at fresh highs. It's always just a bit of an awkward place for me. So yeah, I would wait for a bit of a pullback there for your NZD, but yeah, still very much bullish on this one. It is a market that is tiring, and I do expect to see not necessarily a reversal, but a bigger counter trend take place soon, but not really seeing any signs of that happening. So I'm not going to dive too much into that detail until we see signs of break of structure and bearish momentum coming in. For now, still looking really bullish, so I'd focus on the buys. We'll take a look at Pound USD next. Still crazy, yeah, damn, wow, insane. To be honest, I haven't actually looked to trade gold and silver. I've been very focused on the currency pairs intraday, because gold and silver haven't really given me any opportunities for a swing. The last swing opportunity was like 2 months ago. Since then, we've just been in a roaring uptrend. So if I was looking to trade gold and silver, it would have to be intraday, to be honest, because you're just not seeing the big enough pullbacks. But of course, judging from what you guys are saying with the spread, not really intrigued to trade that intraday just yet, I would say. In terms of pound USD, this pair I am very interested to trade, and I'm looking at a lot more downside for pound USD. I really like the analysis on the higher time frame. Even if you expand to the weekly chart just to get a nice overview, more or less price coming back into supply on our left here. This is our last lower high, which gave us this low. Your price is more or less tapping into that area. There's that possibility for a big swing. We're kind of fading at highs. You can see last time we failed at highs, what happened? Price created a high, created a new high, failed, came back down pretty aggressively, did the pattern again. We might see some more downside. So I like where we're positioned. The room to the downside is there. Of course, nothing's guaranteed, but as a trader, you got to deal with probabilities. And when an area where the probability for market to see some downside, I would say is pretty high. So from a top-down perspective, the sells make a lot of sense. Now it's just about finding a good opportunity intraday to take advantage of that. So this is where the patience comes in and just kind of reading price and staying aligned with it. So as price takes out this low, I was generally expecting prices to continue falling. So I'm quite surprised we're having this pullback, but pleasantly surprised because now it gives me the opportunity to actually see if I can trade it. So I'm looking for a pullback kind of anywhere in this zone, 1.34. That's where my attention lies. I do think price is going to sweep the highs here. So any kind of seller's position there, probably going to get stopped out, and then potentially we'll see the move. So over the next maybe 24, 48 hours, I'm going to be eyes glued to pound USD and Aussie dollar. Both of them look really good. And I'm going to see if we can find some opportunities. At the moment, things look pretty bullish still, at least intraday. So I do think price can do something like that maybe for the next couple of days. So they're not ready to be shorted yet. But it's definitely an opportunity which I'm going to be focused on. So as we progress through the days, through the streams, I'll keep you updated with what I'm looking at, and if I can spot a trade somewhere. But at the moment, it's just a little bit too early to say. Aussie New Zealand dollar, yes, we can take a look at that. Excuse me. Pavinator, what's up, my man? Welcome to the stream. How's Kenya? I have no idea how's Kenya doing. I'm in Rwanda. But Kenya is definitely a place that I do need to go check out, to be fair. Aussie dollar was exciting. Got the downtrend, however, missed the update trend. Oh, okay, so because of the pullback, I imagine. To be fair, I'm very interested in Aussie dollar as well. I'm still looking to short it. Yeah. I'm looking at the same thing. You're looking at another bear move before another bull move. Yeah, I'm looking at that pretty much as well. I'm looking for price to come back into support around 0.64. No worries, my man. No worries. Okay, we'll go through Aussie NZD, and then we'll take a look at Aussie dollar itself, because again, that is definitely a market which I'm very interested in. So AUD NZD, again, exceptionally bullish over the past few days, but we are running into some trouble, which is resistance at the high there. Do I still want to be buying this? Probably not, unless I see clear momentum that shows that this resistance is breaking and perhaps we're getting ready for continuation. Then yeah, of course, I would love to take a buy. Would I mind some selling opportunities? Absolutely not, but I do want us to break outside of this range here. So if the market does give me a strong break like this, this will be kind of a textbook continuation, reversal, continuation, consolidation, reversal type opportunity, which I will be more than happy to look for some pullbacks, to look for some more downside, because in that situation, I've probably taken advantage of a bit of retracement because the market's been so bullish, and perhaps we can come back and retest maybe some highs over there as well. So there is opportunity in both directions. Perhaps the market's going to break resistance, perhaps we're not. It's difficult to say because we're just consolidating underneath right now. If you are interested, you can look to buy low and sell high and trade within the range. Not really my interest. I'm a bit more interested in what we can do outside of this, because that's where I would expect the bigger moves to be. So that's more so where my focus will be. But inside this area, that's a lot of noise. I wouldn't try and spend my efforts trying to pick trades inside of here. I just think that's where all the chaos is. Not that you can't make a successful trade. It's just I think the conditions are a lot harder to do. If we could see a sharp breakout, up or down, I think the opportunities become a lot clearer and easier to trade as well. So Aussie, NZD, I would be quite neutral. Yes, the trend is up, but let's wait for evidence that that trend is continuing before we do buy into that again. Or let's see if it does reverse and give us some nice counter trend opportunities. At the moment, I wouldn't really look to do much, to be honest. And as for Aussie dollar, like I said, very short bias on this one, but I am looking for a slightly deeper pullback. Mapped out kind of two areas where my focus is pinned at. So this level here, basically the breaking test of that prior low. But also this big kind of supply zone. We spent a few days consolidating, and it kind of gave us this break to the downside. So if the market would be kind enough to retest that, that would be fantastic. And I'll see if I can swing it all the way back down to this low here, which just rests just above 0.64. So that's where I do expect Aussie dollar to end up. Not by the end of this week anymore. It's already Wednesday. I do think this could maybe be a target, probably more towards the end of next week now. But nonetheless, still looking to try and short the market. So we've had a very aggressive pullback over here. So I'm not so keen to be jumping to any sells. I like my pullbacks quite slow, corrective. Really show me that, okay, momentum is in the direction of a trend, and the pullback is just price going against that momentum, very slow, very correctively. So the likeliness of the trend continuing is pretty high. This, on the other hand, is quite aggressive. So this tells me that the pullback probably still has a bit more upside to give before it is time for us to actually get into some sells. So I'm being quite patient, quite cautious with Aussie dollar. The short bias is already there. As long as we don't take out this high here, I will remain very bearish. So of course, if the market was to do something like this, I would rethink everything. But as long as we stay below that, stay nice and corrective, I should be able to find a short entry some point in time. As long as it doesn't happen during the Asian session. If it happens during the Asian session, there's not much I can do. I'm sleeping. But if it's London, New York, and I'm at my desk, I should be able to find the trade. And then a pushback to 0.64 would be the goal. Those are my two favored USD pairs. If I have a look at the sentiment actually for Aussie dollar at the moment, see what people are doing, because of course we were extremely bearish yesterday. Aussie was very weak. Dollar wasn't necessarily that strong yesterday, but it was hinting at some strength. But AUD was very weak, and pretty much AUD against every other currency pair was falling. And then of course the latter stages of the day we had that big wick and price reversed. So I'm interested if people, okay, social media chatter is predominantly bearish. I'm pretty bearish as well. Retail position suggests contrarian buying despite downward pressure. Okay, so people would have seen that big bearish move yesterday, especially retail traders, because typically retail traders look to try and fade momentum. So if you do see a big move up, people typically are looking to try and sell that, vice versa. So with this move here, there would have been a lot of buyers coming into the market. But as price pushes more to the equilibrium of this chart, I would expect those buyers to start taking some of their profit. But I do have a bearish bias. Looks like other people do as well. I do think we're going to roll back over. Maybe this buying pressure to stop out some of those early sellers before we do roll back over. But looking at a lot more downside. No worries, Pavanator, no worries. Oh I forgot you're in New Zealand. Because I was thinking, long day at work, the day's just started. But of course, we're not in the same time zone at all. But no worries, you're excused, my man, you're excused. Mozambique to visit, yeah, that's also a nice place. I haven't actually looked too much into Mozambique, but I've heard good things. So yeah, definitely another place to visit, and not too far away from Rwanda at the moment as well. So definitely going to keep an eye. How is Pound Aussie doing? Because I'm still looking to see if I can jump back into this one. Okay, so the candle did spike up quite a lot, but it's pulled back down. So we're going to get basically another doji. Still looking to see if I can take some buys, some re-entries here for Pound Aussie, because again, there's no significant change in the trend. We're still very much up. We've seen a very confident candle on Friday last week, and all I'm looking to do is try and bet on the continuation of that. So the plan is very much set in stone, just looking for opportunities intraday just to maximize that risk to reward. And if things go very well, possibly a push back to the high over there. So that is still very much the goal for Pound Aussie. And looking to see if I can get back into the position. Nothing yet so far. Yes, I do trade Pound USD, Williams. I do trade Pound USD. I mean, I'm not in a trade currently, if that's what you're asking, but I am looking to see if I can try and short the pair. Not yet, though. I do think a bit more upsides on the cards before we do get the short bias in. Especially with the wick yesterday. If you look at the daily chart, look at the wick we left yesterday. That's not a great sign for the sellers. I mean, I'm still bearish nonetheless because I'm looking to follow market structure. So this wick doesn't necessarily tell me that price is going to now explode to the upside. But what it does tell me is that we're having trouble at this low and having trouble trying to continue. So naturally, we might see a bit of upside, go collect some more sellers before price is actually ready to see that drop really come into play. So yeah, with Pound USD, I am actively looking to sell the market. This is my target for this week. Doesn't look like we're going to hit it. So I'm going to have to shift this along to next week's target. But yeah, nothing's really changed for me to change my bias for pound. So very, very bearish. Just need to see a bit more upside. I think maybe if you're very intraday, you might get away with some longs to take it to the upside there. But that's not really my cup of tea. I think I'm just going to focus with the sells for now. Because at the start of the week, we were trading over here. And I did say on Monday, I'm looking for one more push up and then the sell. But we didn't get that. We had some pound news come up, pound news release on Tuesday, which gave us a bearish move here. So I was like, okay, price isn't going to give us that move, and maybe we're just going to sell off here and go back to the lows, and maybe I missed the move. So that's kind of what I was expecting well, towards the end of Tuesday. But then momentum started to pick back in, dollar started to weaken. I wake up this morning, price had even more of a push. So I'm like, okay, maybe the pullback to the zone is still on. Maybe price is going to give us the opportunity to find that next lower high in comparison to this high here. So it looks like we've put the low in. Now we're trying to find the next lower high to, of course, swing it back into the next key level, which would be down there. So now maybe the opportunity is back on. So I'm going to keep a close eye over the next few days and see if I can find a nice swing trade for Pound USD here. So yeah, very much on the watch list. Still looking to short it, just nothing at the moment. If you want me to look a bit more intraday, let me know. If there's a specific time frame you want me to look at, because I can drop low, I can scale high, let me know. What's up, Holy One? Pound Aussie's a buy. I'm looking to see if I can get back into it. Not ready for a while yet, though. Pound NZ at entry tested. Okay. I mean, Pound NZD is a lot more bullish than Pound Aussie. Of course, they're very similar currency pairs. Pound NZD and Pound Aussie tend to do the same thing 8-9 times out of 10. The difference between Pound NZD and Pound Aussie is that Pound NZD is just a lot stronger because NZD hasn't been as strong as Aussie. So you're seeing a lot more of a convincing trend right now with this one. The only reason why, which I'm not really looking to trade Pound NZD, is just simply because we're trading at the highs there. So that's always a bit of an awkward position for me. I like Pound Aussie because we've had a much deeper correction, and price is, oh, that's the wrong one, and price is trading more closer to lows. So from a swing perspective, it does give me a bit more opportunity to the upside, but again, I expect both of them to pretty much do the same thing. They're either both gonna reverse or they're both are gonna continue, as long as there's no crazy news for Aussie or NZD in respect to those individual currencies. But generally speaking, they'll do the same thing. So yeah, pound Aussie, I'm looking to follow this trend basically. We've had a lovely pullback. We've swept the low here. We've recovered back above really aggressively. So all I'm looking to do is just capitalize on the continuation of that momentum from Friday. That's basically my objective. And if things go very well, maybe I can push it back to the high there too. So yeah, I think I'll probably wait for an entry on the hourly now. And then yeah, initial target there. Take a good chunk of the profit. And then next target up there, which would be a very nice swing trade. But really the goal is to get price back here, because if we do roll over, I'll be more than happy to take the profit there. But if the trend does continue, I would like to try and hold at least a small chunk to see if it can continue. Okay, you're already in the position. NSL, okay, I hope and take out Asia low. Okay, so you're just only looking for an intraday move there. You're not looking for anything crazy. Where is the Asia low? Okay, Asia low would probably be around there. I mean, that's not really Asian session. It's kind of like 10:30. Asian's kind of like 11:12. So like around there maybe. But anyway, in and around there, you're looking for that low to go. Yeah, I mean, currently there's a lot of bullish momentum, so I'm not quite keen on the sells, even intraday just yet. My expectation for pound USD is a bit more upside here. We might see a push down to come back and test this area, which might go and hit your Asia low target, and then maybe price does continue. That could happen. But my initial thoughts with pound USD is that we've had a really aggressive reaction, especially when we had a lot of selling pressure on Tuesday. So for price to suddenly just reverse all of that really aggressively, that kind of does give me a big warning sign to say that, okay, the sellers are really struggling, because 9 times out of 10, if you're going to see aggressive momentum like that, normally price just continues on its way. For us to reverse and take up the high, that's a strong shift from sellers to buyers. So I do think there's a bit more upside to be had. Like I said, we might pull back first, which might go and hit your targets. But yeah, I do think there's still a bit more room to the upside for pound before we do get that bigger sell. Or at least that's what I'm waiting for anyway. And also when I look at the DXY as well, I'm just not the biggest fan of where the DXY is right now. Not that we can't go higher, it's just the DXY is coming back from supply on our left here. This for me is bearish territory. You can see we've been in a bearish trend for quite a while. Now, as price comes back into this territory here, it's just not an area which I want to be looking to buy into. Price very much could break through that, but I'd be a lot more confident with my buys on the dollar or shorts on pound, shorts on Aussie, if the dollar was trading more so to this area, where still, of course, price could still fail. Nothing's guaranteed, but at least I'm buying from areas where no buyers will be stepping in, and that could at least give me a kick back to resistance, where I can at least secure some profit. So if price does roll back over, worst case scenario, walk away for break even. Best case, maybe we do see a big swing. But yeah, I'm just not the biggest fan of where we're positioned, so that's another reason why I'm looking for a little bit more upside on pound, a little bit more upside on Aussie before I do get in. And then we'll see. I mean, I do like the support price is trading at right now. Where we can definitely see a bounce from. And that could be enough to go and hit your targets, but yeah, I'm just not quite convinced for the biggest swing just yet. And that's a big difference as well. You're looking for a short-term move. I'm looking for a swing that could last, a few days. Pound USD major buy all. I'm not too sure what that means, Anton. Oh, you had a gold long setup, Bashi? Okay, yeah, no problem, Beck. Happy to help. To be fair, now that you've spoken about all the spread on gold and silver, I'm not really looking to I mean, I wasn't focused on gold and silver either way, but especially with all the talk about the spread moving crazy, yeah, I'm not too sure if I want to trade it. I mean, I did talk about this opportunity here on the 15, which actually does look good. It does look good to me. But yeah, spread and all of that, I'm not such a fan when it's looking crazy. So yeah, I'll leave the gold and silver trading to you guys. I'll stick with pound USD and GA for now. Oh, okay, didn't take a certain alert. Did you miss the alert, or did it not fit your liking? I mean, with gold now, how do we close on the hourly chart? Because I was actually looking. Okay, we actually left a huge wick there. So yeah, gold for me is still very bullish. Gold for me is still very bullish. We're kind of repeating what we did yesterday, which is have a crazy sell-off, expecting price to find support and then continue. It would be nice to pull back into this zone here, 41.50. That looked quite attractive to me in terms of build up and then a big breakout. That would be good to see a retest of, especially if you're looking for more of a swing bias. I mean, with the wick there, we could just peel to the upside, to be honest, and you see the 15. Yeah, I'll let gold settle. I'm not a big fan of that wick. Yeah, I'm not a big fan. I'd rather wait for price to come back into that zone and then look from longs from there. Okay, fair enough. Gotten silver on that wick. Okay. Fair play, Matt. Fair play. I mean, I was looking for price to come a little bit lower, but I don't know. With that wick, that might be enough for price just to rally. And again, with the way price is moving, especially for gold and silver, you don't need much for price just to rally. It's not like it's a more of a corrective trend where you have to bide your time a little bit and be a bit more patient. You can afford to be quite aggressive, to be honest, in this trend, because you're seeing very shallow pullbacks and the market just rips to the upside. And maybe that wick is enough for us to continue. Personally, I would like that zone, but yeah, beggars can't be choosers. And like I said, I'm not a big fan of all the spread changes, so I think I just focus on the FX for now. GJ, yes, we can take a look at that one. Francis, no problem. Protect yourself. Okay, I appreciate the heads up, Sculpey. Pound USD better to focus on all time. I mean, pound USD is probably one of my most traded pairs, to be honest, so it does have my focus. Bernard, what is up? Yes, we could take a look at Euro Yen as well, no problem. Oh, wow. Yeah, I mean, in that case. Okay, let me go take a look at pound yen and euro yen. So with pound yen, as I said, I'm leaning towards a more bullish bias now, but I'm not looking to jump in just yet. I'm being a bit more patient. If price can take up this high here, that would really put the cherry on the cake there, and I'll be looking actively for some buys intraday, swing it back to this high, and I'll probably be quite aggressive, and I'll try and push it back to 207 up there as well, 207, 208, because we do have a pretty clear uptrend for GJ. The odds of this continuing is pretty high back to resistance there, so that's naturally kind of my expectation, if you will, for GJ. But because yen's been so strong, and if you take a quick look at the yen basket, we have struggled. To break significant support, which is kind of the only red flag I have with buying pound yen right now, which is kind of why I wanted to see how this week does progress. Because if you look at the weekly chart for the yen basket, you know, we've had a piercing wick through that zone, and price pull back and failed to break through. So at the moment, this is definitely holding as support. So for GJ to continue back to resistance, back to 207, 208, we need to see the yen basket break this area and continue lower, and of course head towards that zone there. So that's the main thing holding us back, is that we're not seeing enough weakness in the yen just yet for us to see that continuation. And of course, if price doesn't do that for the yen, if we do respect this as support and turn around, well then of course you can expect GJ to completely collapse, and we can go through a pretty impressive sell in that case. So I can still see both scenarios happening for GJ. I'm leaning towards the bullish side of things because we're starting to slow down with this corrective behavior, especially if we pick up momentum, especially if we take up that high, then that really does put the odds in favor of the bulls there. I would naturally expect us to get back to resistance and then eventually 207 beyond that. So my eyes are peeled for pound yen. I think it's still a little bit too early to be looking to buy, because again, we still have areas like this which are, you know, meaningful areas of supply, really aggressive push down. Price very much could tap into that and have another sell-off, which we don't really want to be buying into. So let's see if we can invalidate that structure, break through it, and then the buys will make a lot more sense. And if you do have a bearish bias for pound yen, then this would be the place to be looking to sell. You're waiting for price to get there, see how it reacts, and that could be a place, especially intraday, to sell from. I'm not so concerned with the sells just yet. I'd rather us get see a much bigger move, you know, break through that level before I do start selling. For now, I'm just waiting for a bit more information with pound yen. Okay, so I'll go for Euro Yen next. I actually like GJ and GU as well. Nice. Are you looking for buys on GJ and sells on GU, which is an interesting situation because typically they are quite correlated. So there's a bit of a contradiction there, but that's what the technicals are pointing right now. I mean, GJ not quite confirmed for me, but it looks like we are picking up some strength. And of course, GU at the moment is still looking pretty bullish as well. But I do think eventually we'll put a lower high in. Okay, so let's go for Euro Yen. What's up, Sedam? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're doing good. Welcome, welcome. Shorting Euro. I was looking at Euro this morning, and I did kind of like the way price swept the highs, but I just I kind of want price to have a slightly deeper pullback for Euro. But I do see what you're describing. We can take a look at it in a second. Yeah, in terms of Euro Yen, basically the same situation as pound yen. We've got a very convincing uptrend. The only reason why I like pound yen more than Euro Yen is because pound yen is still opportunity. Pound yen hasn't got back to the price swing high yet. So pound yen has that incentive, that natural incentive to keep going higher, to go and hit that resistance. Whereas if you look at Euro Yen, we've gone and taken out that high. So if anything, we could be coming into our pullback phase in a short while. Of course, the market is still very bullish, so not necessarily going to try and predict that just yet. But I'm always just a bit cautious buying in this stage here because of the fact that we just took out major highs, which is why GJ and some of the other yen pairs have my attention and not Euro Yen. But still, it's a very bullish market, and if you can drop intraday, you can still take pieces of the pie without being in the trade too long. So again, it looks like Euro Yen is correct, is becoming more corrective now. So this is giving the impression of a pullback, and we could see some more upside. So in terms of opportunities, what you could do is wait to see if you can break to the upside, see some momentum, wait for a correction, perhaps even a break and retest of the prior high, and that could be a lovely trade back into the high, call it a day, and just betting on the continuation of the trend, because the trend is still very much at play and still looking relatively healthy. The only red flag is where we're positioned, which is the high there, which is why I would be a little bit awkward. But if we overlook that, it's just a very bullish market, which at this rate looks like it's likely to see another bullish leg. So yeah, I would wait to see if we can break above highs there, intraday pullbacks. There's a pretty good chance we do get back to 177.777. So yeah, very, very bullish stuff there on Euro Yen as well. Euro USD, I see what you're talking about, Matt, with the way the price swept the highs there. We could look to sweep the highs there before continuing lower. I can see that happening as well, and that did cross my mind, but I just want to see a slightly bigger pullback. I just don't feel so comfortable at shorting Euro in this situation and based on where we're trading. You know, price very much could sweep the highs there and continue. If this price action just happens slightly higher up, I would love it, to be honest, because now we're back in supply. I'm not so close to this area, and I'll feel a lot more comfortable to short it, and the risk reward will be better as well. But yeah, I'm not quite sold on the idea just yet. There is some sense there though. But yeah, the idea is still very much looking to flow with this momentum here. And that's still very much the plan. And then we'll see what happens here. Maybe a higher low forms, maybe we break through. I don't know. How's pound USD looking? See, pound yen also had a bit of a rejection as well, but I'm not quite convinced with the shorts just yet. Invert the chart. Yeah, I'd like to see something like this happen. And then the move. That'll be a nice trade. And that could take, again, a couple of days, or at least the day to fall. So, yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with some of the yen pairs and USD for now. Platform I use to trade MT5. TradingView I use for pretty much all my analysis and recording trades and journaling. Not to journal, but in terms of like screenshots and stuff. But in terms of actual execution, MT5. Okay, once a GJ longs, so no time to actually enter. I suppose that's one of the downsides of trading on the 1 minute chart, is that you have to be absolutely on it. Because you literally got a minute, well not even a minute, you got seconds. Because as soon as candles close, you got to make some judgments. But of course, the upside of the 1 minute is that you get some very, very finite entries, and you can imagine there could be some really big risk rewards if you play your cards right. Hey, appreciate it, Bashi. Yeah, guys, if you're enjoying the stream, drop a like, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell. All that good stuff does really help out. And of course, make sure you do drop any chart recommendation, any trades you're looking at, and we'll be happy to discuss. Okay, any long moves get taken back the next day. I mean, I do see that happening with both euro and pound. I do think this up move here is just to kind of maybe take out some early sellers, maybe invite some buyers in before we do continue lower. So I do think price is just eventually going to roll over. My only question is, are we ready to sell off now, or is price going to go slightly higher? Because I'm looking at DXY as well, which will pretty much do the same idea. Price is taking up that low there too. Is the dollar ready to go and reverse that up momentum? Possibly. My original plan coming to the week was looking at more so this area, basically anywhere within here, but I would focus my efforts a bit more into that area there. So I was hoping to see if we can get a slightly bigger pullback here. It's 50-50 really. We might do, we might not do. But yeah, in terms of direction, I do think that will flip pretty soon as well. Trade 3 times with 2 different master accounts. Yeah, that could be quite a bit of annoyance, because especially in the 1 minute chart, every second counts really, to be honest. Because if you had like a swing trade, like a daily chart, you could go make a coffee and come back and take a trade, to be honest. Of course, there probably will still be a slight difference, but what's 10 pips, what's 20 pips on a daily chart? Not really much. But of course, that's everything on the 1 minute. So yeah, I definitely understand that. Yeah, exactly. You need 3 minutes at least, yeah. And that's 3 candles. Ellie can, yes, we can take a look at UJ, no problem. EU, what about the double bottom? Yeah, I mean, again, it goes both ways. From a high time frame perspective, I have a bearish bias for euro in this area here. The way I look at the market is like I look at kind of territories, because the market is always 50-50, especially in FX. There's always a trend at play, and there's always a minor trend at play, and it's always the battle between, will the bigger trend play out or will the minor trend play out? And inherently you don't know, but typically you do favor the larger trend. And right now we do have this minor trend here for euro, and we've got the major trend, the bigger trend here. So it's kind of like, okay, is this uptrend going to continue, or is this bearish trend going to continue? Maybe we break structure, or maybe we have a deeper pullback. We don't necessarily know. All I can do as a trader is just position myself well for the move I'm trying to catch. So for example, if I'm looking for the buys in the anticipation that this uptrend is still going to continue, well, typically this is going to be my area of interest where I'm looking for longs, because I know this is where the buying pressure came in before, and if the trend is going to continue, I don't want to see price take out this low. If it does get taken out, then I know that, okay, that trend isn't probably going to happen. And likewise with the sells, I do want to see price respect this zone. And of course, I don't want to see price break above it, because of course that'll tell me that that bearish trend is probably invalid, and maybe we are going to see the continuation of this uptrend. So I know that if I just focus my efforts more so into these areas, I'll be well positioned no matter the situation. So if this trend is going to continue, I'll be well positioned. And even if it doesn't continue, there's probably a good chance I at least catch a reaction. So I can probably trail stops and walk away with a small win. Or of course, there will be times you do take a loss, absolutely. But at least you're well positioned for it. And naturally, your risk reward's a little bit better as well. So yes, there is a double bottom there. But I wouldn't be jumping into some longs now. I think now is kind of the worst time to be looking to buy, especially as the market sweeps the high there too. So from a bullish perspective, you kind of want to be buying at the low there, already be in the trade, or looking for price to come back into lows again for the long. And from a short bias, I'm looking for us to kind of trade to those areas for the short. You're right, that's a double bottom. Maybe price does reverse. We'll have to wait and see. But this is kind of where I want to focus my efforts. And if I'm bullish, that's kind of where I want to focus my efforts too. And again, when you are looking at those areas, it's not every time that price gets there as well. Sometimes you just get shadow pullbacks and the market just dumps without you. Yeah, that's just a part of the package, really. You're not here to trade every single opportunity, just trying to find the better ones. Okay, so I'll go take a look at UJ there. Okay, a lot of time tag in 1 minute. Yeah, exactly. I can imagine the risk reward is quite big. I mean, it depends how you trade it, to be honest, because you can keep the risk reward very small and just be very in and out and be like a very aggressive scalper. But if you're looking to try and swing positions, for example, if you have a bias in the daily chart and you manage to capture in the 1 minute, yeah, you could be looking at very crazy risk rewards. Anyway, in terms of dollar yen, so dollar yen, we did see a lovely move down. I wish I was able to take advantage of that, but the entry came during the Asian session, unfortunately, so I was snoozing, unfortunately. But regardless, a lovely move down to take out that low. That was the plan this week, looking for dollar yen to come back and test this high. Now I'm looking to see what the next move is, because if I do see dollar yen come crashing back down underneath this high, that is a very bearish signal to me, because last time we did that was back over here. Price created a high, we swept it, came crashing back down. A lot of consolidation, but eventually we did see a bit of a move down. And likewise, I'll be betting on the same thing happening here too. So if we do come back underneath this high, that is a pretty strong bearish signal. Of course, at this moment in time, that's not the case. If anything, we're actually using it as support. So being a bit cautious here, especially as price swept the low here, you can see the wicks there. So it does look like price is finding support here. There might be some intraday shorts for dollar yen as we come back into this area, looking to basically continue this momentum for another swing back down. So I'd keep an eye on this zone here. This is of course your bullish area where the buyers are stepping back in as we swept the low there. But this is where you want to be focusing as a seller. So I would say probably drops like a 15-30 minute chart. Let's see what type of price action we get in these areas. If it's nice and corrective, there could be some like shorts for another swing back into lows, and that could be your trade intraday there for dollar yen. So yeah, in terms of the bigger move, I'm not too sure. I want to wait for a bit more information. Like I said, if price comes crashing back underneath here, I'm pretty bearish. Equally, we could look at the continuation of this bullish trend. Nothing's quite set in stone just yet. So I'll keep it intraday and not look for any big swings yet, just because, at least in my eyes anyway, the big swing's not quite clear yet as to which way we're going to go. Something like this makes sense. You already have a pretty clear bearish trend in the 15. All you're looking for is the next lower high. You're not looking at anything extravagant here. And then if it does succeed, you've got a nice clean push to the prior low. So yeah, that's kind of my take on dollar yen for now. Just keeping it intraday, longer term bias. I'm still not even quite sure of the yen just yet. Excuse me. Risky trader win like 30% by risk reward. Of course, I mean, trading is all about the balance between risk reward and win rate. If you're going to have a high risk reward, of course you're going to sacrifice your win rate. It would be nice to have a high win rate and a high risk reward, but yeah, it's not really realistic. If you're looking at anything above like a 1 to 5, I don't think you'll be able to sustain a win rate over 50%. Even 40% will be very impressive of 1 to 5. Because imagine half the time you're making 5R, the other half time you're losing 1R. You'd be extremely profitable in that situation. But if you're going to go for big risk rewards, be prepared for the lower win rate. Yeah, that is insane risk rewards and win rate Bashi. 50 to 65% and 10 to 20 RR intraday. I mean, I know you're very picky, but that is insane. How long have you been trading? You're asking me, or I mean, if you're asking me, 8 years. Well, past 8 years now. Exactly. Scalping is different. The thing is, you can even scalp on a daily chart. Scalping, in my eyes, is more like it's more like just being in and out of the market. You can do that on a daily if you want. Scalp for 2 days and then you're out. And you can swing trade on a intraday chart as well, because a swing is just you know, a phase of a trend, which is basically what you're looking to catch. Okay, Matt, you're still long on silver. How is silver doing? Okay, it's picking up some momentum. What's the spreads like on silver at the moment? I mean, the trend is still absolutely killing it to the upside here. The odds of price getting back to the prior high are pretty high, because you wouldn't expect price to suddenly drop. It could do, of course, but the odds of that happening are quite slim. We're likely to at least take up the high before we drop. Just been loving the market recently. I mean, again, you're going to go through phases where everything you do touch turns to gold, quite literally. And you go through phases where it's not quite going to plan. I think a big skill set of a trader is managing both of those situations, because, you know, even the poorest of traders are going to hit a nice spell and do really well for a period of time, because at the end of the day, it is probability. The markets will be for you at some period of time, and then, of course, even for the best of traders, the markets will be against you in a bit. It's kind of managing in that time. There's many situations where, you know, I've been doing very well, take advantage of it, and you don't do too well, and then you don't kind of manage your risk well enough, so you do undo quite a big chunk of your profits. And a big thing I've learned is that when you're doing well, you know, dial into that, take advantage of that, and when you're not doing well, you know, be cautious. You don't have to keep being aggressive. If things are not working for you at the moment, protect yourself in that situation. It's not a situation where, okay, it's just a trade. Of course, you don't want to be fearful when you trade, even when you are losing, because you still need to trade and get yourself out of that, out of the drawdown. But equally, if things are not going well, you've got to be cautious, because your account comes first and your profits come first as well. So you've got to put things in place to protect yourself in that drawdown too. If that's lowering your risk or lowering your trade frequency, either which way, having some type of situation to protect yourself. And then when things become, when you become a bit more in line with the market, you can pick up risk or trade frequency or whatever. Okay, the future account doesn't have spread. Fair enough. Don't have to worry about that. Okay, absolute A+ trade frequency, which you're fine with because so patient anyway. Yeah, I have to say, you are very, you don't trade much for a person who does trade in the 1 minute, 5 minute chart. Most people I know who trade on lower time frames at least taking 2 trades a day, or at least 1. Hey, what's up, Lighton? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. USD ZAR, USD JPY, of course, we can take a look. Okay, 1 hour, 4 hour, no problem. I appreciate it, my man. Thank you. Maybe you remember my pairs. Okay, so you're dropping some compliments, so don't forget USD ZAR or dollar yen. Well, it'll be hard for me not to do them now. Have I missed out a pair? If I have missed out a request, let me know. I'm not too sure if I have. I will just go straight into USD ZAR and dollar. To be fair, we just had a look at dollar yen, so I'll do a quick recap of that. Okay, we'll take a look. Yeah, I think Beck's asking you, Bashi, because I just answered like 5 minutes ago. Okay, let's take a look at dollar yen. So basically what I said for this one, intraday, shorts look good. but I'm not too sure about the swing. I'm still waiting for a bit more information. 151.7 is the area I'm looking at. That's kind of a really healthy zone on the 50-minute chart. Nice supply zone, brief consolidation, lovely break to the downside. We do have a pretty consistent bearish trend here on the 15, and basically the plan is, can we look to find the next lower high of that? And this would be a prime area to look for that to happen. For the most part, this bullish move looks quite corrective, which gives me the impression that we could be looking to go and form a lower high there. So intraday shorts look good, but as I scale up to like the hourly chart, I'm not really seeing much opportunity. I wouldn't try and take that same opportunity on the hourly. The candlesticks are too big. Risk to reward wouldn't look great. Would I be looking at buying here? No, not really. I just think we're not positioned well for a buy, especially in the phase we're in. You can see if I zoom out to the daily chart, yes, we've got an uptrend, so quite naturally you're looking at buys here. But you can see what happens when price does sweep the high. We do go through a pretty big pullback. So I would be worried about something like that happening again. So I'd rather look to try and pick up longs and dollar yen in this phase and not that phase. This is more like a bearish opportunity if you want to go counter trend, hence why I mentioned that short idea on the 15-minute chart. You're taking advantage of where price is positioned and of course the current momentum we've seen over the past 2-3 days. From a long bias, especially if you're looking to follow this trend, this is more so where I feel comfortable to try and find some longs, even intraday as well. But the beauty of it is that you can look to try and swing those positions and hold for bigger winners as well. So I'm not really optimistic about buying here. I would wait for price to get there. Of course, that could take a few days, but at the end of the day, I've got the time to wait. There's other markets which I could look to trade in between. In terms of dollar yen, that's really where the situation does lie. Waiting for price to respect this area, possibly some 50-minute entries, or if we just drop or have that bigger pullback, we could even go and fill the gap there as well. Then from here we can look for some buys to take price higher. So that's kind of where I'm positioned for dollar yen. In terms of USD ZAR, last time we had a look at this one, we were pushing to resistance. Oh, okay, we respected it. I was actually expecting price to break through that. But it looks like price just smashed its head into that level and came right back down. Interesting stuff. Okay, so nothing's really changed for USD ZAR. I'm still looking for price to sweep this low and then have the reversal. I did say yesterday if price gets above there, then I don't think that low is going to get swept anymore, or at least not for the time being, and then maybe you just see a continuation from there onwards. But yeah, with price respecting it does make it interesting now, because do I want to buy USD ZAR? No, not really. The buys made a lot of sense above this area, because that would have been like a equivalent of break of structure back above key resistance, and then some longs there would make some sense. So yeah, that would have been a nice bullish opportunity. Now that price has just basically smashed its head into that level and come straight back down, that does kind of make me a bit cautious as a buyer. I mean, the opportunity is still very much on. If price does break above on the next swing, then yeah, maybe the buys do look good in that scenario there. But I wouldn't be trying to find some buys down here. I wouldn't be surprised if we kind of just roll back over and go and take out the lows, and then maybe we do see the big reversal. So yeah, Lighten, I'll be sidelined here with USD ZAR. I don't see a good buy opportunity. I don't see a good sell opportunity just yet. I think the buys here are a little bit aggressive. It makes sense back at support, back into kind of demand areas. So we could see a bounce from that perspective, but I think the buys are much safer above resistance here, which is what I was counting on yesterday, but we did not manage the breakout. So yeah, I'd wait for something like that to happen and then see if I can make my move. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with USD ZAR. Where am I trading from? Rwanda, Kigali. One to two a day seem to pass like every 2 weeks. Must be trading very aggressive there, Matt. I mean, the thing is with the accounts, you can go through the cautious, more kind of managing risk approach, or you can go for the aggressive approach, which is I'm looking to pass as fast as possible. Bit of a tongue twister there. Pass as fast as possible. But of course, you know, drawdown, losing the account will be of a higher probability in that situation. But of course, if you don't really mind, you're looking at the upside. You know, you can definitely look to go that route as well. What links do you want to drop, Bashi? No problem. Happy to help. Yeah, of course. I mean, with funding, you just want to get as much as possible, because the goal is have as much as possible. Therefore, like even the smallest percentage is just, you know, healthy return. Because you don't want to be in a situation where you have to claw massive percentage to make big gains, which of course is the real benefit of having prop funds and funded accounts, is that, you know, even just making 2%, 5%, you know, on the month could be, you know, enough to cover all your expenses and then some. You don't want to be in a situation where you have to keep flipping accounts aggressively to, you know, to pay bills, because that's just going to end up going down the hill pretty quickly eventually. Where was I? No problem, Lighton. Happy to help, my man. Yes, we can take a look at gold as well. Yeah, of course, I can imagine. Yeah. I mean, again, with trading aggressive, you just have to have a plan around it, because there's nothing necessarily wrong trading aggressive, because people think, okay, if you're trading aggressive, you're doing something wrong. Not necessarily. If you have a plan for it and you have a plan around it, trading aggressive is actually completely fine. Of course, you just have to know that what your downside is. Some people don't really have a big risk appetite, so trading aggressive doesn't really fit their style or fit the way they trade. And as a result, you trade a bit more conservatively, and if that's the case, you're trying to stack up as much capital behind you as possible, so you don't need to trade aggressively anyway. If you have large capital, you can be very conservative and make good returns. Of course, you can still do that aggressively, but just be aware of the downside and aware of the risk as well. And as long as you can stomach that, you have things in place for it, then personally, I don't really see too much wrong with aggressive trading, especially if you know what you're doing, know what the risk is. It's the people who trade aggressively just doing it casually. Then, of course, it's going to go downhill from there. But of course, if you're a new trader though, I would recommend the conservative route before going aggressive. Because aggressive just means you know what you're doing, you're confident, and you want to take as much advantage of what you're doing as much as possible. Therefore, you go aggressive. You don't want to be coming into the markets as a new trader, going straight in aggressive. That's never really going to serve you any favors at all. The main goal is just learning the ropes, really. Lighten, I'm not too sure that's a question we can discuss on the streamer, man. It's a bit more of a private discussion. Yeah, sure, yeah, Discord IG, yeah, that's cool. That's cool, Bashi. set on that free combination. Looks like you've got your whole Rwanda trip planned out there, Bashi. Oh yeah, completely forgot about gold. If I do miss out a chart, just let me know. Just remind me, because I will sometimes get a bit distracted with conversations. But yeah, as with gold, to be fair, I actually do like this opportunity with gold. It's just, will we get there or not? That's the big question. I don't know with gold. We could very much run to highs immediately without much notice. I like slightly bigger pullbacks, more complex pullbacks. That's kind of where my meat and drink is. I don't normally go for shallow pullbacks, only maybe when I'm very confident on a swing and I can scale to like a 50-minute chart, then I'll be a bit more aggressive. But typically I'm normally looking for price to kind of spend, you know, a day or two on a pullback before continuing the move. So I quite like this area. Brief pause, lovely conviction to the upside, new highs. Already seeing some struggle with gold, hence this massive candle to the downside, although it did leave a pretty big wick. But yeah, if gold can take its time, nice and correctively on the way down, this could be a very nice place for another higher low and another bet for price to reach highs again. I mean, looking at the bigger picture, gold is still extremely bullish. I would still be very much a buyer of the market until we kind of break structure or show some other evidence of the trend tiring. I mean, yes, it is tiring, but you know, there's no sign of it necessarily ending. So yeah, this area here is where my focus would be. That might be a situation which develops over the next 1 or 2 days. So I don't see much of an opportunity right now. I mean, if I dropped like a 15-minute chart for gold, yeah, I don't like it. There's not enough information here. We've got this big spike here. Price kind of finds support, pushed up a little bit. There's not a lot to do with this. Maybe if I dropped like a 5-minute chart, even then, I'm not the biggest fan of the price action. I need price to kind of settle. You know, is this the low, and is price now just going to continue back to highs? Maybe. Or is price had a massive dump and now we're going to see the continuation of that? For me, it's still kind of 50-50. So I'd rather just focus my efforts in this zone here, and then hopefully Thursday, Friday, or early next week, there might be some nice buys there. Yeah, so I hope that made sense with gold. No worries, Bash. I mean, you've been super helpful on the streams, I can't lie, to be honest. To be fair, I probably will start doing some guests, actually. Get a bit more community driven. I could do like a little guest segment. I mean, of course, I'll ask a bunch of people, get other YouTubers involved. I'm sure Bashi will be up for it as well. Like I do like a little segment, 30 minutes somewhere. Dollar C. Okay, we could take a look at Dollar C Chef as well. How's Pan Aussie doing? Ooh, okay. Hello. Completely forgot about this. See, that's when you can get a bit distracted sometimes, because I'm looking at 500 different pairs. I forget the pair that I'm actually looking to trade. Yeah, I'm liking how things are. I mean, we've still got 13 minutes before this closes, and I do need to close above this level here. I like how we reacted with that demand zone, and if it does close convincingly, I'd happily take the entry. Stops underneath the low. Initial targets back to the high here, but I'll try and see if I can stretch it back to the high over there, which is basically some resistance over there if it can load. There we go. So yeah, keeping a very close eye on this now. I think I'll just keep it in my eye. Oh, keep it in my eye line so I don't forget. Okay, so what pairs with dollar CHF? So dollar CHF, yeah, an interesting USD pair, because I discussed this one yesterday. I said it's one of the USD pairs which hasn't really got moving yet, and I do think we are due the move, but because CHF has been very strong, USD has been kind of strong, so it's been two strong currencies against one another. But who's going to win the battle? Well, I do think dollar CHF does need that bigger pullback, but at the same time, I can't ignore what we do have on our hands, which is currently a bearish trend. So as price pulls back into these type of areas, if this is not prime real estate to be looking to buy at all, if anything, this is more of an area to be looking for selling opportunities. If I'm looking to buy dollar CHF, I need price to be coming back towards this kind of area here. You know, this is where we had a nice push, pullback, push, pullback, push. If we can get a pullback here, I'll be a lot more comfortable to try and find some longs. Not only can I trade it back to resistance, but maybe we catch the breakout as well. And if price does roll back over, we can probably walk away with at least a break even, as long as we can catch like an initial bounce. So dollar CHF, the trend is still down, so naturally I would have a bearish bias for this, even though I'm looking at the DXY potentially reversing as well. But this is definitely bearish territory. So if I drop a bit more intraday, 4-hour chart, not really trading at any area of significance, so I wouldn't be doing anything right now with dollar CHF. We had a weird gap at the start of the week, which made things a bit awkward. So yeah, I'm not seeing much here for dollar CHF, but let's say if we can continue lower, I think this could be a nice buy, especially if we can sweep the lows here. That could be a really nice buy there. Maybe Friday sometime, Thursday, Friday. And yeah, that could be a really nice swing, basically betting on the next higher low. 1, 2, 3, even 4 there, maybe 5, and you're betting on that continuation. But at least here you're well positioned, stop loss will be in a safe place, and actually risk reward look a lot better back to highs as well. So you're just in a great position to take advantage of it. So yeah, I hope that makes sense on dollar CHF. Miko X Bashi Live, that would be a nice link up actually. Get the fast and furious with the more calm and laid back, I would say. But even though I would say Bashi's quite calm as well. Yeah, that's a good recommendation as well, CS. Things I need to learn actually how to use my stream software better, because I switched from Streamlabs, which I used to know how to do polls with. I switched to StreamYard, and I don't know how to do polls with this one, but if I do some digging I'll probably find out how. But no, that is a good recommendation, CS. Exactly, 30 seconds versus 4 hour. Trading is boring, but boring is good. I like that. I should get that on a t-shirt. Get that on a t-shirt. Okay, need to keep a close eye on pound Aussie. Still need a bit more momentum, I'm not going to lie. I mean, I like what I'm seeing initially, but not enough to get me excited just yet. I do want to see us close above that level there, 2.049. We've still got 8 minutes. That is a long amount of time actually for an hourly candle. But I'm liking what I'm seeing here. I'm liking what I'm seeing. Probably slightly wider stops though. Boring as money, yeah. Trading exciting, you're probably doing something wrong. or you just might be very excited about boring stuff. I appreciate that CS. Yeah, guys, let's see if we can run up the likes to 30 likes before the stream ends. Appreciate that, CS. But yeah, guys, if you're enjoying the stream, please be sure to drop a like, subscribe. It does really help out. Make sure you do hit the bell as well. But yeah, I do appreciate all the likes you guys have left, all the kind messages as well. I do really appreciate it. Let me have a look at the sentiment for pound Aussie. How is the USD pairs doing? Okay, not much there. Not much there either. A little bit strong, but yeah, I'm expecting a bit more upside anyway. Okay. Okay, strong bullish bias. Not that strong. 65%. I'd say, yeah, 65% is probably the cutoff. Anything above 65, I'd probably say is strong. Retail position suggests moderate long bias for further AD weakness. Well, that's the plan I have as well. Looks like I'm following the crowd a little bit here, which again is not the worst thing to do. A lot of people have the misconception that if you're in the same direction as retail, you're automatically wrong, which actually isn't the case. It's actually more 50-50, because if you think about it, if retail is always wrong, or wrong most of the time, then trading simply would just be go against retail traders, and it would be very easy to make money, which is not the case. So retail traders are actually kind of 55% of the time probably wrong, 45% of the time right, probably even closer than that really. I think on a broker statement, it was actually retail traders were actually right more often than they were wrong. So yeah, sentiment is something not always to follow, especially retail. If you're in the same direction, it's not the worst thing in the world. It's more about timing, because getting the market direction, especially if you're following a trend, is not difficult. You know, if you're betting on a trend to continue, see whether the trend's going to continue or not. So effectively, it's kind of 50-50 really. But the timing of that and where you place your entries, where you place your stops and targets, that's more so where the skill set does lie. So being in the same direction as retail is not the worst thing in the world, but do make sure you do time yourself well. $6.53 time, 2 weeks. I like eggs with toast. Okay, I'll make a mental note of that, Bashi. Okay, so you are selling euro, Matt, and you're long silver as well. Okay, break even. Okay, fair enough. How is euro doing? Okay, euro's picking up some nice momentum there. Looks like euro's a lot weaker than pound. There's one way we can tell. Euro GBP. Yeah, that's pushing down pretty hard. At least the last hourly candle. I mean, altogether it's a very choppy market, but at the moment, euro is a lot weaker. So yeah, it's going to be interesting, because is euro going to continue the trend from here? It well could do. Again, I'm waiting for a slightly bigger pullback. We'll see if that does happen. But it looks like prices had some fun sweeping the highs here, and we are seeing some momentum. And you said you're already break even as well, Matt, so I guess now it's just a waiting game. Yeah. Let me have a look at the news for the week, actually. Okay, unemployment rate for Aussie tomorrow morning. Need to keep an eye on that one. Or actually, Wednesday night. But yeah, tomorrow morning. I need to keep an eye on that because I'm actually looking to trade Aussie on 2 pairs. Pound Aussie, not quite doing it just yet. We've still got 2 minutes left. If it does have a sudden gust of wind that does take it back above the high, I'll look for an entry. If not, I'll wait for the next candle. Then tomorrow, Thursday, we do have GDP for pound. That could be a bit interesting as well. I'm looking to trade pound on 2 separate markets as well. We do have jobless claims for USD 2. Retail sales as well. I think the same time, yeah. Tomorrow afternoon is going to be interesting. And then Friday, building permits, not really too worried about that one. I mean, Euro's placed well to drop. If it's going to drop, I can definitely see the mechanics behind it. Sweeping the high, could argue coming back into some supply on the left there. We could see a bit of a drop. It's just a little bit too far down for my liking. I like a slightly bigger pullback. If I whip out a fib from the high to the low, yeah, not even quite in the 50 yet. And again, it doesn't mean that price has to get here before it does sell off. It's just those are the type of opportunities which, I trade frequently. Yeah, it looks like I might be waiting for the next candle there in pound Aussie. Yeah, I mean, you're trading different markets essentially, of course. You expect, oh, okay. Okay. Literally 5 seconds. No, it just closed below. Yeah, I'll wait for the next candle. Do I think gold will hit 5K this year? At this rate, I think so. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, it is already October. Halfway through October even. So 5K is a little bit of a stretch, I'm not going to lie. But if there's one thing I've learned this year is to not underestimate gold. So possibly 5K. Okay, interesting. 65% last year, 40% this year. 40% the year before. So 5K easy possible mids. Yeah, 2026, yeah. End of this year, it's going to have another big push. Because you're doing an increase of about 20% of the overall value of gold. Gold has to gain 20% in about 2.5 months, which is done before. So doing it again is not necessarily out of the blue, but again, it's a big ask because as price goes higher, the value of 20% is a bigger move. 20% is now $1,000 before it could have been just 500. I say just 500, that's still a lot as well. Anywho, guys, we have approached the end of the stream. My focus will be on pound Aussie for some longs here. I am still very keen on shorts and pound USD and Aussie dollar, but I think I'm just a little bit too early to the game for those guys. I think maybe that's a short that I take maybe tomorrow or Friday. Likewise with Aussie dollar, I think these shorts come into play maybe the next 24 hours. So I'm going to be patient with them. I'm not going anywhere, so don't need to rush into anything. The bias is already set from a higher time frame perspective. All I need to do is now jump into it and take my shorts. And likewise with pound dollar as well. But for now, Aussie might give me something. So this is where the focus will be definitely for the rest of the day. And if things go well, looking to swing it back to these highs. And if things go very well, we're looking at these highs there too. So yeah, pound Aussie longs, keep a close eye, and we'll see what happens with pound USD and Aussie dollar shorts as well. Anywho guys, really appreciate you tuning into the stream today. As always, I'll be live again tomorrow, same time as always, from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. UK time. So if you're free, pop in, come say hi. We'll discuss charts, trades, everything of that nature really. So if you're interested and you enjoyed the stream, make sure you tune in again tomorrow. Drop a like and subscribe before you do leave, guys. It does really help out the channel. I do really appreciate that. And hit the bell as well. And if you do want to follow the channel further, you can check out the channel memberships, trade ideas, members only videos as well. So if you're interested, go and check them out as well. But guys, really appreciate you tuning in. Have a great day. Have a great evening, or whatever time it is for you around the world. And take care, and I'll see you all tomorrow.
Six AI agents, each built with a unique edge. Miko, AI, Team Leader. Ori AI, Fundamental Analyst. XAUUSD, AI, Technical Analyst. Mesa, AI, Risk Management Specialist. Fenwa, AI Market Sentiment Analyst. And Naledi AI, the cryptocurrency expert. Together, they're engineered to protect, guide, and transform your trading. The future of trading is here. Experience Zentrix AI.